How are you feeling today? It is Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, 7:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, it is one of those wonderful days that we're having. It's warm today. For us, it's 14 now, so it's going to be about 25, which is warm for November. So here we are. So what are you thinking of today? Mistakes are always there to teach us. You know, they teach us. Mistakes are there. Good morning, Nancy. How are you? Mistakes are there. They teach us. I couldn't put in all the words. It doesn't allow us to do that. But today, our conversation is ready. So, Nancy, let's go. You are it. Today is the 5th of November. And it is a new day to go through life and see what you can do with it. It's a day that maybe you'll make a mistake. But mistakes are there to teach us. When we make a mistake, just think of it. The word itself tells us it's not permanent. It's a mistake. And this is all I have this morning, Nancy. That's all I got. A mistake is the information we need for where we desire to go. When we make a mistake, our life changes. When we make a mistake, something different happens. So whenever we make a mistake, we must remember it's only in the moment. And that mistake though, good morning, Peter. How are you feeling today? So a mistake is exactly what it says. It's like a misstep. Why don't they call it a misstep? They call it a mistake. You miss a take. That doesn't mean you're done. A mistake does not mean failure. Many people believe if they make a mistake, they failed. You didn't fail. I didn't fail. We make mistakes. And that's why it has that name. Take the name literally in this case. It's a mistake. I went to take a step and I missed. I went to read a book and I missed. I went to do a cooking thing and I missed. It's always something we miss. Good morning, friends. I am North, so my internet isn't the best. Oh, you're North. So you're North in is it Wisconsin? Oh, with all of these people, I have to remember every state you guys are in. I have more followers from America than anywhere else in the world. So I am always working towards making sure I know where you guys are. So your internet will give you the best. It will give you enough to get what you're looking for. So a mistake is exactly that. You took a step, you took a chance, and you didn't reach it. So when we make a mistake when we were growing up, they gave us an eraser at school. Remember that? We had an eraser. You could buy them. I remember buying them for my kids. And they have them on pencils. They even have erasers that will erase ink. So when something that we desire to do didn't go as quickly or as good or whatever in the way we desire it to go, we must remember that it is a mistake and take that eraser and rub it out. Take it out. Erase it. And don't bring it into the present moment. Don't bring it into your next step. It's failure teaches us what we need for us to be successful. That's all it is. When we make a bad take on something, it is to tell us, hey, you are going to be successful. This is the information you need. This is the realization you should come to. What I did wasn't the right way to do it. Can we look at it from that point of view, or are we going to take it and carry it with us throughout our life? And that's what the morning blessing is for you today, is to realize that the mistake you made, that you didn't get in touch with somebody, and now you lost the opportunity for something that you needed to learn, or the mistake you made by not being on time and your appointment didn't go for the full length because there was somebody else behind you waiting to see that person. So these type of things we have to realize is only for a moment in time. Some mistakes are devastating. Some mistakes are challenging. Some mistakes are just, you a car accident, this, doing this, falling down, something happening. Good morning, Loretta, how are you feeling today? Some of these mistakes are terrible. And of course, it's still a mistake. So we can choose to use the eraser in our mind like we used an eraser at school and corrected it, because the teacher would give you back the work and say, it's all wrong, you need to redo this. The teacher would hand you back your assignment, even in grade school, and say, you know what, Loretta, you know what, Nancy, you guys messed up. So go back and fix it. This is what it means. And that is what a mistake is. It's not something to carry with you for the rest of your life. You might have made a mistake, like I said yesterday, in loving. But you have to see that it was a mistake worth making. You will never make that choice again. You will never judge a book by its cover. You will delve into the pages of the book and find out what is in that book. And that is what is necessary. So when you find that, I made a mistake in a recipe, for example, I stop and I say, okay, so what can I do to counteract this? Have you ever been cooking something and you notice it's very salty? And I found out from somewhere that if I cut some potatoes into it, white potatoes into that, the potatoes will absorb the salt because it is so, it absorbs things. And then the taste is not as salty and you're still able to serve it. So these are the type of things that we do. But yet when we make a life mistake, a mistake in life, a personal experience mistake, we choose absolutely not to erase it. We make a choice. We carry it with us like a badge. Think of it. That mistake, I'm 78. That mistake I made, if I can remember them, when I was a teenager, maybe early teen. And I am still carrying it into the life of being 78 years old. So let's say I was 12. That means I've been carrying this for 66 years. Does that make sense? Picture you carrying a bag on your shoulder and walking through a desert with sand dunes in it, that you can hardly lift your feet from one step to the other, and you're constantly carrying that mistake with you. A bag full of mistakes. And you're taking it into the next step and into the next step. But let's turn this around. Let's just turn it around. Let us say that bag we're carrying is full of all our successes. We met the right man at last. I did not know that potatoes absorb salt. Yes, they do. I have all these little tricks. Maybe Loretta told me, or maybe my mom, or maybe the nun, somebody told me. Yeah, you just put it in there, and while it's cooking in the stew, and anyway, you know what I mean, Nancy. Thank you for telling. So, today's American, what do you call this, in election, and there's just the two of you there. I love it. I'm talking to two beautiful ladies. One I have known for since 1969, really. And Nancy, I don't know when you started, but I just believe we have a connection. And one day I'm showing up in Wisconsin and I'm knocking your door, and it won't be to ask you to vote. So remember that. So anyway, I would love to do that. Let's think. Anyway, we're not going to do that today. Let's go back to this mistake. So there we were, carrying that bag full of mistakes. In my case, 62 years of mistakes, or 66 years of mistake, and I'm carrying this bag. I'm going, and the sand dunes, and I'm sweating. It's the desert. But let's say Instead of carrying the bag of mistakes that I had all through my life, that I have now chosen to fill that bag with all the successes I have had in my life. And I decided I'm going to go through this life, through this desert, through this sand dune, knowing that this on my back they are my successes, which proves to me, I know, I think so too, which proves to me, Nancy and Loretta, that is what I have accomplished. Instead of taking the bag and filling it with regrets or mistakes and walking with them into the future, I can just take this bag of successes that I raised 3 children. I had 3 amazing pregnancies. I married a man that I have my children with. I lived a life. I had amazing things in my life. I grew up in a family that loved to hug and kiss and interfere with you, your life coming in and hugging you. There's always connection. All of that, I can go back to my childhood, driving with my dad to go see my grandmother on every Sunday. I can remember when I could think. These were successes that my mother would say, if you're going to see your mom, you have to dress better than that because she will think it's my fault. I used to look at that. To get there, my aunt would come and she'd bring me special fruits, my father's sister, Loretta, and she would bring special fruits from that area. So look at these successes. And that is why we have to learn to, instead of pulling the negative energy of the past with us, we have to learn to choose what it is we have to do. Our job, even if you have like situations, let's say, because that can happen, it happens sometime, our children really aggravate our very substance. But the point is, we chose to carry them through 9 months of pregnancy. That was our responsibility, our job. They have nothing else to do after that. So whether they turn back and say, thank you, mother, then, it's okay. But if they don't, do not expect them to do that. Because that is not your responsibility. It is, I take what I get. I was told to open your mouth and I'll tell you what to say. We will tell you what to say. And I believe that was divine guidance. That's my belief. So many times when I come to speak, I only have sufficient information. If I am early, I can expand on it in that book and let my mind go. But today, the phone froze. I couldn't do that. All I had to depend on is a mistake, is the information we need for where we are going, so that we do not repeat the mistake. But when we take it with us and we put it in that bag that weighs so much, think about it. Picture this in your mind, ladies. Picture this. Your bag is full of success. The birth of healthy children. Women, that's what we crave. Raising them to the best of our ability. They didn't come with instruction. Living a fulfilled life. Well, at the age, both Nancy and Loretta and I, we are similar. I don't know how old Nancy is, but I know Loretta and I are just 4 years apart. And what I know for sure is that to come to that point in our life where we have the opportunity to enjoy each other's company, that is a success. So we put it in that bag and we carry it. And if we have a bag full of success going through life, picture this. Suddenly you arrive at an oasis in the desert where there is dates and water and food and people, and it's alive. And the butterflies are hanging around you. Picture this. There are flowers everywhere and the butterflies are buzzing and hanging around your bag of success. Curiosity reaches the people at the oasis. And they said, look at these women showing up here. Oh, you're 72, you're baby. You're 10 years younger than Loretta and 6 years younger than me, but you're baby. I'm just teasing. So thank you, Nancy, for sharing that. So you understand. I am asking you ladies to picture in your mind's eye that you have arrived at the oasis after you crossed the desert. And when you showed up, there it is. You have this wonderful thing on your shoulder of all the things you did, the successful things, the things that worked. You have none of the mistakes because you erased them using the eraser the teacher in grade 1 gave you. Going to grade 6 and the teacher said, do it again. This time you did it and you got it right. So now it falls into that bag. And that is what is important, Nancy. And when you arrive at the oasis and you're walking to that oasis and the people who live there look at you, this traveler has come from afar and she's crossed the desert and here she comes. For some reason, the butterflies and the bees and all these beautiful things surround her. It's almost magical. They want to see what's in your bag. What have you brought to the oasis? What have you crossed the desert with? And the desert might be the mistakes that we made. It is. But we did not let those mistakes hold us back. We let them go. In some cases, we erased them and did them again and got it right this time. And those we had no control of, we left in the desert so that the sun can cover them up. And we know we arrive at this luscious, amazing place. Good morning, Azim. Good afternoon, Azim. Long time no see. Lovely. I see all of your lovely things and I like them all. So listen to me. You have been traveling with a bag of mistakes and you trade it in for a bag of putting your tiny successes in place. Each of them. And there you are. And these people who live in the oasis are looking at you and saying, how did you do this? What happened to your mistakes? What happens to your failure? What happened to the times you didn't quite hit the mark, they ask you? What happens to the failures you endured on this journey to come here? What did you do when you were in the desert and you were thirsty? What did you do when the sand dunes were heavy and the wind was stifling your nose? What did you do? They want your story. What are you going to say? I pushed through. I insist on going forward. I took a chance and here I am and I never let go. It was hard. It was challenging. It was difficult. Things were not working for me. But I knew I had to arrive at this oasis. I knew that was my destination. Yes, and along the way, I had to dig my foot from the sand. Along the way, I had to drop this bag and drag it behind me. But I never, ever stopped. And because of my persistency, all my mistakes stayed in the desert. And then, when I chose, instead of dwelling on my mistakes, to concentrate on my successes and appreciate having arrived at them, be grateful for every success. Be grateful for the tiny success of when you open the shower. Yeah, the water is hot. You press the switch where your eyes are still closed and good morning, Julie, and you are able to turn on the light. These are your successes. And that is what is important. So our mistakes, our failures are enough to give us the lessons we need to live a fulfilled life. So you arrive at this oasis and the people are looking at you. Like, remember the Alchemist, that book? When he arrived, they were curious. But here you arrive at the finish line, and that is your oasis, and you're looking at it, and they're looking at you, and they're wondering, how did she cross that desert? How did you? And they will ask you questions about your journey. And you have to always say, I never ever gave up. I dragged the bags of regrets and mistakes and failures only so far. And then I realized they were not worth taking with me in and bring them to you in the oasis. I come here to tell you that what is in that bag is the same successes you can have. That's what it is now. It's lighter. The bag is lighter because success is amazing. The success of just trusting yourself enough to press that area on the wall and the lights turn off. Or the lights turn on. Turning the dial or pressing a button and the stove gets hot. And the opposite will bring it down. These are successes. And when we come to the oasis of life, the point where you are right now, and you realize what you have accomplished, stop dwelling on what you failed at or the mistake, the misstep. When you get a mistake, you do not stop and don't do it again. But when we think it's a mistake, somehow we decide we cannot change it. Yet we were taught in junior kindergarten to use our eraser and erase it and do it again until we got it right. And that is what life is about. The mistakes and the failures are information we need for us to succeed at what we desire. And we have to learn that. We have to find ways to make it happen. We have to choose to push forward and say, yes, we can. Because when we get to that oasis and the butterflies are flying around you and flowers are sticking out of the bag and the people who live there are wondering, tell us, then you become the storyteller. You walk into that oasis with a story to tell. I was searching and I found this. But on my search, it was difficult. It was challenging. I did not give up. And I arrived here to, the road that I took. But here I am, and you're wondering how I did it. I did it because I was persistent, consistent, determined that mistakes are just missteps. And they have to be left in the past. And we have to find concentration of the present moment and find out what it is we can give thanks for. What it is we can be grateful for instead of dwelling what the mistake you made yesterday. So that's all I got though today. A mistake is the information we need for where we are going. A failure is just telling you you have to fix something. We know that, but we keep forgetting. Instead, we're making our lives much more difficult by carrying these things with us. You want something, you do what you do for you. Do not do it so others can see you're doing it. And that is a form of integrity. You do your best when no one is watching. And you do your best when people are watching. We all do that. We behave when others are looking at us. But integrity means to show up and do your best when nobody is here to see you. You're in the desert alone. You're going to do your best. You're going to leave that bag of mistakes that you were carrying through this hot, horrible desert, sand dune. The minute you choose to drop it, you arrive at the oasis of life. And that's where most of us are. We are always arriving there. The thing is, we are forgetting that we're there. We are not taking the time to absorb being there. We are not realizing we are in the moment. We are not aware it's in the moment that we can change the hardship of yesterday into the success of now. That we will be able to relish in the next day. It's not going to next day that brings us the success. It's staying into today and doing the best, erasing the mistakes that we made and doing it again so that you get it right. We all, each and every one of us, have had that happen to us with our teachers. We did. They were given an eraser, or you got an X, or you had 0. I know what that is, to tell the teacher goes back and say, do it again. You have to do it again. It's all wrong. It's not a nice feeling, but it's a choice to do your best. So the mistakes as an adult that you insist on dragging into today, it's a misstep. It is a miss in something you took. That's why they call it a mistake. That doesn't mean you cannot make it something positive by doing it again. It's not working as you like it. That doesn't mean it will never happen. That just means it is not ready to happen, or you are not putting the time in the moment to make it happen. Because that time you should spend making it happen, you are thinking of why it didn't happen before. But it was a mistake. And what do you do with the mistake? You correct it. You fix it. You go to the complaints department and you say, can I fix that? I need to fix that. So with all what we do, remember one thing. We have a choice. And when we make a choice to realize the things that we failed at, it doesn't mean it's gone. That just means for now we failed. That means 2 hours from now we can go back and fix it or do something about it. As I said, Nancy just learned it. When you are cooking something and it is salty and you add some potatoes to it, ordinary white potatoes, and it absorbs the salt. That's just how it is. So, when you are doing something and you realize you failed, you cannot just sit there and say, oh my God, I failed. You have to be the storyteller. You cannot only tell the story when you get to the oasis after the desert that I failed. Then what were they waiting for? These people do not see visitors all the time because not too many people can do it as well as you and get to the finish line. Not too many people can walk through that desert and end up at the oasis. They're waiting for you. You are searching for something and you arrive there. And because you believe and you did your best, when you get it to the oasis, you realize, oh my, I left all the mistakes in the desert. My bag is lighter, yet fuller, bigger. Why? Because it just has all my silly little successes. You can go back to your childhood if you ran a race and you won. That's a success. Remember it and smile at it. Put it in your bag and bring it, because that child that is at the oasis now, waiting or trying to do something, and you say, yes, it was hard. I had to practice. I had to play hard. But I did. I succeeded. And that is when you become the storyteller. When you can say, it was challenging, but I didn't give up. I made mistakes, but I learned from my mistakes. I did have times that I failed, but I stood up again and I did it over and over again. And this is why I am here to tell you, failure is just the information you need to do it right the next time. And that is what I did. All through my life, I stubbed my toe. I fell on my knees. But I stood up again. It was challenging, the journey. And I wonder sometimes how I came to be here. And then one day, I couldn't wonder anymore because I was told, only because you never, ever give up. You picked up and you started again. You held on to your faith. You believed you had something in you to give. And that's why you're here. So when we make mistakes, our best choice is something we all experience. Go back to grade school. Pick up that eraser and erase that mistake. Turn the page. Put the date of today and write your story again. Use what you're learning now, not what happened. Remember, you erased it. You turned the page. You said, no, I'm not even going to use that dirty page. In some cases, we pull it, we tore off that page in the exercise book. We didn't want to see the mistake. And we wrote our name and the date, and we did it again. And this time we won. Hello, Ezra. How are you feeling today? So a mistake, a failure, is only giving us the information we need. So when we get to the oasis of life, our bag will be bigger and fuller with lots and lots of successes to carry us through. So have a wonderful day. And remember, the oasis, they're waiting for you. They want to know how you cross the desert to get to them. And they want to see your successes, not your failure. Open your bag. Let the butterflies come in and give it to them one at a time. Because you see, mistakes are just a misstep. A failure is the information you need to do it better the next time. Wonderful people, have a fabulous day. I am feeling fabulous. And if you are here, each and every one of you, how are you feeling today? It's always your feeling that gives you success. Have an amazing and wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow, if it, on the other side of time. Have a great day. Love you. And remember, use your childhood eraser to take away those mistakes. Life is wonderful, wonderful, amazing. Have a great day, everybody. It was a small group, but it was the right group. And each of you that came at the right time, you got just what you needed. I always give 3 things: a nugget, a black pearl, or rare pink Canadian diamond. You choose. And make sure you take what you got and apply it to your life. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.